Hi everyone, and welcome to the first installment of the Career Development Initiative project. My name is Dino Leidenberg.
Hi everyone, my name is Jared Fenter. Welcome to today's video. Today we will be accompanied by some of the other ATs that pursued honours. We are going to be discussing the honours process with them and hopefully providing some insight for you guys in helping you decide if honours is something that you would like to pursue. We hope you enjoy. Hi Tatenda, thank you for agreeing to join us in this discussion. I'm sure the students will find it very beneficial. So if we can just kickstart the discussion by maybe having you run us through what your honours year was like and exactly what it entailed.
Okay, hi everyone, and I'm glad I could help the fourth-year students. So for me, my honours, I did it in finance. So it was mostly just going over some finance principles and also some theories and having some assignments on that. We had one presentation in the year. We had a group assignment, which was based on valuations, actually, if I remember correctly. And we were valuing a bank. I won't mention the name of the bank. And we're working alongside one famous consultation company. Yes, it's a consultation company. So yeah, it was a really good year. And so it's most of the things you do in your ManFin module, but on a high level, like way higher. So by the time you're done, you have some better understanding.
So just to ask, in terms of that group assignment, right? Is it quite a big project, or like,
yes.
What was it exactly? Is it? So it's quite a big project.
It wasn't that big. Maybe it was, but it's just that I didn't see it that way. But it was quite challenging because we had to do something that we just do at a very basic level in exams, like valuing a company using market multiples, using the multiple approach. And we had to make adjustments, and now which means we have to be in a place where we understand what the bank is going through at that point in time and the value that we would get. I remember the first time I was in the group, I was the one doing the valuation, and I got a number that was in the trillions, and the lady was shocked. She was like, what? This is not what the bank is worth. They've even looked up on the JSE to see how much its share, its capitalization value is, the market capitalization. And I was like, oh my God, which means something is going wrong. And I just realized it was just me not understanding the zeros. And I learned to read the market and we had to do it in 3 days online.
3 days?
It was hectic. Yes, 3 days. They gave it to us in the morning.
That seems very hectic.
Yes, it was hectic. And we got it in the morning, and we had to give like feedback later in the afternoon every day. So yeah.
Sure. So it
you
seems
actually
like
learned
quite a bit from that. I suppose you got to engage with a lot of people that have quite a bit of experience in that. So I think that's very interesting.
Yeah,
it was
like good.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it was good. It was just that it was just one person, so she was like a project manager whom we had to report to. So she didn't really like impart any knowledge in us. We had to literally break out of our shell, just being a student, and step into the shoes of someone who is involved on a project and really do our best. So yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just say from my side, like, sorry, I didn't actually know that it was such a real life example. Like, I thought it would all be more theoretical based, and like, it's actually quite interesting that it's a real company that you're valuing. And like, I never knew that, and I would have found that quite interesting, to be honest. So
yeah, I definitely agree with Dina. I think that's a side that many of us aren't familiar with. So yeah, it's great to find that out. Is that something that continues for each year for honours, or was the particular valuation project just a sort of an isolated event that you guys happen to like stumble upon, or is that something that gets repeated each year?
Okay, so from my past knowledge, like when I spoke to the previous students who did honors in finance, they say that they actually had a week and they had to go into this consultation company and be involved, literally sit on a group and work on a real life client. So for us, we had to do it online in a short space of time, which is 3 days, because our June break was quite short. Remember, it was a week, so we had to just squeeze it in. So we had like some sort of time constraint and everything, but this is something that happens almost every year based on what I know from the past, from the students that did honors in finance.
Cool.
Okay, cool. I think, yeah, to move on to the next question, what was your motivation behind pursuing honors and also sticking with it? Because many students would register, like I registered and then I decided, no, it's not for me. So what made you stick with it and actually choose the finance honors?
Okay, for me, it was a matter of, okay, I'll just tell this one thing that would most probably people would think I'm stupid or something. But when I applied for my 4th year and I was in my 3rd year, I was so excited. I didn't realize, or I didn't know, let me put it that way, that it's actually 2 different things. So I just applied for honors and I was like, yay, if I make it, I'll do my honors. And if I don't, they'll throw me into CTA. So I didn't know you apply for 2 different things until I got to school. And my friends are like, you've already applied? And I'm like, yeah, I did. I applied over the June break. And like, yeah, I did. And they're like, oh, so you chose the 2 options. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? That's when it hit me that actually I didn't apply for the postgraduate diploma in accounting. So from there, but either way, I was willing to do honors because I have this passion for finance. I really hope to go into banking in the future, or even sit in managerial positions where I have to make financial decisions, because I feel like that is the way you can best apply the knowledge you've been taught here at BET. Because if you don't practice it, then it is just knowledge sitting in your head. So, and also the fact that finance is something that is very pertinent in our economy, something that we use globally, and finances is what runs the world. So I just thought, you know what, let me get a deep understanding of these theories and see how they fit into our life. Because when you're sitting on the desk, being a CTA student, all you're just doing is learning and applying it in an exam. But where and how do we really apply it in the world? That's where I was just curious and I was like, let me do this.
Okay, so the next question that I was going to ask is what made you decide on finance honors in particular? But I think you mostly covered that in what you said before, just your passion for finance, and yeah, your interest in banking and all of that. So is there anything else that you'd maybe like to add? I think you did cover most of it.
Yeah, I would actually like to add that I was a bit skeptical about the other 2 because I was worried that I might not have the drive to pull through, because it's quite easy to start something and just literally drop out of it. But I needed something that was going to keep me within it, even no matter how hard it gets. Because I knew if I was gonna take FINEC or tax, I was just gonna be like, I'm not really passionate about this anyway. I don't see myself doing it in the future, so I might as well just drop it. But finance, I was like, hey, I need to do this. And every time I have an assignment and I'm like, these readings are too much, but I'm like, remember, girl, you want to do this in your future. This is where you are hoping to be in the future. So you need to put in the work. So yeah, discipline now, get the rewards later.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then I think to move on to the next thing is, what are the important skills that you actually learned from your honors course specifically that you've been applying maybe in the working world now, or
or even with your the masters?
Yeah,
even
going into
maybe
the
writing skills, anything relating to that.
The one thing I would say, writing. If I reflect back when I was in high school, I used to be a terrible writer. I remember my English teacher used to say, how is it you even getting such grades in other subjects, but you're so terrible? And I was like, well, I'm just not cut for it. And I used to always make that excuse. But honestly, really put me in a position where I had to improve my writing skills and also like take the time to actually read up on how to write. And I remember every time before an assignment, whenever they would say, okay, fine, prepare a report, prepare this, prepare that, I would literally sit down and be like, watch videos online and say, okay, how do I do this? Because I was willing to put in the work. So that is one thing I learned, to actually change my mindset on saying, okay, I'm not a good writer, so that's that, but actually start putting in the work to learn how to do proper writing skills. actually, another thing that I learned is how to do a proposal. I had no idea on how to do a proposal, which I think is going to be very useful with me getting into my master's, because we're going to have to give a thesis, also my research report, collecting data. I didn't know how to do that. Using those stats, those models we learned in first year in Stats 1000, it was just a thing of just realizing that some of the things I'd learned initially actually can be useful to me today, being able to interpret those numbers. Yeah, some of them I didn't really know how to go about it, but I had Prof to help me, to show me that this is how you do it. And yeah, so I think some sort of basic data analytics skills in there as well.
Yeah.
Just to go back to something.
Okay, he's going.
Sorry, just to say, so I think from what I've gathered is that you're very passionate about finance, right? So now if someone's considering of doing honors, but they aren't really passionate about any of the subjects specifically, you know, would you say still go ahead for it? Because at the end of the day, you know, I see you're very passionate about finance, and that made you work so hard. And I think if you aren't passionate about it, like, is it worth it or not, you know?
Okay, so sometimes, you know, passion is good because it drives you even when you don't have the motivation. But even without it, getting there, and if you know you're just curious. So sometimes I just feel like curiosity is enough, because as you enter in there with a curious mind, you start getting some of those questions you have answered. So at least be curious about whatever you're trying to get into. Yes, you don't have to be mad about it like I am, to use informal language, but you just need to have to be some curious, have some questions. Okay, fine. Why is it the tax ledge is set up this way? What really made them come up with these anti-avoidances or whatever? And in corporate, in FINEC, corporate reporting, think about what really led to all these standards being made. What were the discussions around this? And by the time you get in there, you have a questioning mind. So that questioning mind will drive you. That's what I think. So passion is not just the one thing you need, but at least be curious about it.
So if I can just add to that, I think that it's easier to develop a passion for something if you delve deeper into it. And as you get into more of the theoretical aspects like that underpin, let's say, for example, company valuations and all of that. So I think if students delve deeper and gain sort of more of a deeper understanding, their curiosity might actually be sparked in that instance.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, on to the next question. Could you describe one aspect of your honors experience that you found most valuable and or enjoyable, as well as one aspect that you did not particularly enjoy?
Okay, so the one aspect I enjoyed was actually the whole valuation thing, because as much as it was challenging, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the classes we had with the valuation expert from one of the audit firms. He really gave us a in-detail insight. I really enjoyed that. What I didn't like was the pressure with CTA, because CTA was pressing on, honors is pressing on, and I'm just like, how am I gonna get through it? I remember the one time I was in class attending a tutorial, and Lenore was like, who didn't do their TAT? And I hadn't, because I was busy with my honors assignment. I think that was the week when we had an assignment and the presentation. And I told her I was busy with honors, and she's like, just because you have honors, you also have to focus on your CTA. From there, that's when I was like, oh my God, like that's when it hit me that, you know what, I can't choose one over the other. So that was really hard, just trying to keep the balance, making sure I'm juggling both at the same time and giving it both my attention. So yeah.
Okay. So then on that topic, just to ask, in terms of like in a normal week, how many extra hours did you have to put in for the honors course alone? You know, like, and I can see it sort of did conflict with the normal postgrad at the beginning, but you somehow found that balance, you know? So how many extra hours was it about?
So for CTA, I really focused on my CTA during the week. So in the week, it was mostly CTA. And then I would give myself maybe an hour or two before bedtime and just read through the articles that way I have to do an assignment on and take down notes. And then over the weekend, I'll type up my assignment, and by Sunday, make sure I'm making sure everything is in order, because I think it was usually supposed to be submitted on, I don't remember, is it Wednesdays or Mondays? I think it's Mondays. So over the weekend, I'll be like, okay, fine. Weekends, these are supposed to be my rest days, but I need to eat in some time for me to make sure that my assignment is ready so that when I'm in the week, I don't have to be stressing about the assignment and getting my CT on point.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I can give a rough estimate of time because I would just
you doing keeping tally.
But I would say if I say an average of an hour per day in the week, so that's 5 hours, and then over the weekend I would say maybe 4 to 6 hours on just getting the assignment done and finalized. So altogether that would be around 11 hours in a week.
Thanks.
Okay.
So
and how many weeks was this covered over? Sort of how many assignments did you guys have? How many weeks did the module continue for?
Okay, so for us, it was weekly assignments. Weekly, so you had an assignment every week. And then it was a bit of a problem because we fell into the lockdown period. But during that time, we had to start working on our proposals. So once we were done with all the assignments, we started working on our proposals plus the project. And it kind of, the honors program kind of extended from the beginning of the year all the way to like sort of end of August when we had to submit our research report. So because of the lockdown, it got extended. But usually in the past, it would be June, July break. You do your research report, you submit it in July, and it was done with.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
I think maybe just to close off, I don't know if there's any questions still on your side, Jared.
No, I think Tatenda covered most of them without us even having to ask the ones we intended on asking. So yeah.
I think maybe just the last question to sort of close it off is, do you have any advice for students who are planning on doing the honors or who are currently doing it and are thinking, should I continue with it? Like just one last bit of advice.
Okay, so my last piece of advice is don't be afraid to leave honors just because there are some people hanging on. Your reasons to leave and their reasons to stay are different. So if you're in a place where you feel like you really need to leave, because remember, you can't sabotage CTA for honors. You can still do your master's without honors. But if you really know that, you know what, I'm disciplined enough to do this, I really know why I'm doing this. And sometimes it's always good to remind yourself, why are you doing this? Some people do it for prestige. Oh, you did your honors in your CTA. Wow, you're smart. Wow, you're really good. You can do this. It's stressful. There are days where I felt like breaking down, but I had to remind myself in that moment of wanting to break down that, hey, do you remember why you did this? I remember the one time, just to give you guys a story, I called my dad weeping. And my dad was like, stop crying, my daughter, stop crying. Fathers don't really have that motherly thing because I couldn't get hold of my mom. And he cut the call and he called my mom and was like, better pick up your phone. Your daughter is dying. And my mother called me and she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, it's hectic. It's hectic. Yeah. And my mom was like, I just want to ask you one more thing. Why are you doing this? We would have been happy with you doing CTA alone and you just going to the firm next year and doing your articles. Why did you choose to do honors? And I explained it to her, just like, hold on to that reason and you will see you're going to make it. And I'm glad I did. So, yeah, that's it.
That's some good advice.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. I'm sure the students will definitely benefit from this, irrespective of whether they choose the honors route or not. Yeah, so if we can just conclude, thank you so much for agreeing to discuss your honors experience with us. I'm sure the students will find this extremely insightful. So, thanks, Tatenda.
Thanks so much, Tatenda.
No problem.